Welcome guys, this is Prem. Today we are going to learn a new Azure cloud design. So today we are going to learn this design which is in front of you. We are going to test how we are going to make communication enable between the two virtual networks in Azure cloud. The two virtual networks which are located across two different regions. So we are going to take help of our VNet to VNet VPN gateway. So you can see we will have a West US data center where we will create our one network, virtual network of 16-bit, this one, and then we will create a subnet below, and we will create one VM, and at the same time we will create a new infrastructure in another region, and then we will set up our VNet gateways to enable communication between the two networks. So let's go guys. Let's head over to the portal and start with this. So you see I already have some infrastructure prepared. So if I go to my resource manager, I can see I already have a server, virtual machine is running and all that. So let me go to RGAD and we are going to test with this one. So let's see. We already have a VM here. We already have a VNet here. If you see, we can see that we already created one VNet with 10.0.0.16 bit. So I think it may be different somehow. This is already ready, you can say, East US. So let me see if I have created in the, okay, this is the, so we can say our East US infrastructure is almost ready and we will create the West US infrastructure for us. So you can see here, I already have a VNet created and I already have a address space here. And then I already have created a subnet which is our 24-bit subnet. So our almost this part is ready from the East US data center. Let's head to the West US data center. We are going to create one VM there similarly like this, and then so let's go to the resource group and let's create an RG for AAD in West US. So we will create a resource group RG hyphen, and then we will create a resource group AAD, and we call is at AAD WUS, and we'll select it as a West US. So you can see here we below we have West US, and let's see, we cannot create it because this is already exist. So let's have this AAD 2. Okay, then let's create it. Validation passed. It will not take much time. So now we already have a resource group created. Similarly, we are going to create a virtual network VNet AAD2 East West US. So let's create a virtual network and name will be VNet AAD West US. So we go to the left pane, you go to the virtual network, and here you will add one virtual network. So we already have a resource group created for this. Then we will create a VNet and we name it AAD2, and let's have this name West US. We will also create this in West US. So you have to come a bit down. So we don't have something like West US specifically, we have West US 2. So no worries, our purpose is the same. So let's select the West US 2. Not sure where is the West US 1. Let me go and find it again. So West and then US. Okay, it is here. Okay. So let's select West US and go click next to provide some address space. So we already have this selected here as per our plan. So if you see here, we are going to have this as a 16-bit and we are going to have a subnet 10.1.1.0.24. So let me delete this one and let's create a new subnet. Let us call it as SNet and AAD2 and then West US. A name should be unique and then address space would be 10.1.0/24. Let click add, then go to security. I'm selecting all default. Let's validate and hit create to create a virtual network. So now we have created a virtual network and we have also created a, you can say, we have also created a subnet. So we have not yet created a gateway subnet that will be a separate. So we will create that separate one, right? Okay, so our VNet is going to be ready. And let's find out gateway. So we find it here. This is the virtual sub gateway. So please make sure this is going to some time. So be sure that okay it is not a small task and it will be done very fast. No. So let's create a subnet gateway. So let me call it as VNet gateway and call it at East US. And we will select the East US here. East US. So I see there it's East US. So I have to select East US and we will have it as a VPN. Don't select it as an express route. And we will also have this a route based, not a policy based. So SKU, let's keep the VPN gateway 1 and let's have its a generation 1 gateway. And then we are going to select which virtual network we want to attach it. So we are going to connect this to the VNet AADEUS and this it already taken the gateway subnet range address as 10.0.1/24. Okay, so we are going to create a new public IP. So let's put the public IP name as VNet Gateway PIP and let's call it East US so that we can actually distinguish between the East US and West US VPN gateways. Click next for tag, review and create. So guys, I'm actually creating it. This is going to take some time. So let's start it with this as well so that our gateways are normally ready till the time we work on other stuff. Okay, so again head back to the virtual network. We were creating virtual network for West US. So let's see. Okay, our virtual network for West US is almost ready. So let's go to again and create the gateway for this virtual network as well. So we will select virtual network gateways here. Again, we recently created one and let's create a virtual network gateway. Give it a name something like VNet hyphen gateway hyphen. This is for West US network. So select West US, then we will select West US. We will select the region. This is the different. We will have the same settings we did for East US, VPN, route based. We will have the SQA same and we will have the generation 1 gateway. We are going to create a new virtual network for it. So, sorry, not a virtual network. We will select the existing network. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the public IP. So we will select here WUS and it already selected the VPN gateway as 10.1.1. So I think we can have it, no worries. And we create a new public IP, so let's call it as a VNet gateway. And this is for West US and PIP. So we have new public IP. Next, click next and click create. So this is also going to take so much time. So I have started creating these gateways prior to one. So this part we are started and this part we have started. So both the gateways are now in the process of creation. Till the time we already have this VM placed, let's create this VM in the West US region. Okay, so till the time this deployment is going on, let's head to the virtual machines. So we already have a AAD1 EU virtual machine. Let us create another virtual machine in AAD2 West US. So let's create a virtual machine. Let me also check the SQA for that machine so that we create the same size which we have there. Okay, so this, okay, on the overview tab you can see it here. So it is a standard B2S. So we are going to create the same for us for new virtual machine. So we don't have to create a new resource group. We already have a RG and we name it as the same name as we have earlier. So AD2 hyphen, and this is for West US. And it is already selecting this because we have created the resource group in the same subnet. And we don't have to create any availability sets. Let's select the image Windows 2019 data center. And let's select the size as B2S. So it's not here. Let's go to sizing and select the B2S from here. So this is the one we are looking for. Select it. And then let's give it a name to the Azure account. So I will call it as a Azure user. And let's give it a name, something like, so give it a password. And we are going to allow RDP because this is the only test we are going to do from each VMs for communication testing. Let us have a journal SSD type, standard SSD, no worries. And let's have the default encryption method, no worries. Or, okay. And we don't want to add any additional disk. Let's go to networking. In networking, we already have a VNet AAD2 US and we are going to create it in the different subnet. So you're going to see that this is 10.1.0.24 already. We have subnet and we are going to have a public IP or we can have no public IP here because we are going to communicate using the private IP and we can check it. Let's have this network security group as basic and allow port this and keep the I will select Active Directory because I'm going to install it later on. So let's no, I don't want it. Identity. Okay. Advanced. Nothing you want to install as a VM extension for now. Check the tags, review the VM, and hit create to create once this is ready. So validation has passed. Let hit create, and this is going to create the VM. You can see on the top as status, the gateways are still on in progress. So guys, I will be pausing this video now. Don't want to make it very long. And once these VMs and two virtual gateways are ready, I will be back. And okay, guys, welcome back. So we are now ready with our network gateways, virtual network gateways. So Let me recap what we have done so far. So in the East US, we created one subnet. We created in East US, we have created one virtual network and we created one subnet for virtual machine. And we also created one virtual subnet for our VNet gateway. And we created a virtual machine in our virtual machine subnet. Similarly, we created a virtual network in West US. Then we created a subnet for virtual machine and launch a virtual machine in it. And then we created a gateway subnet and then created a subnet in that gateway. So our sub gateways, our virtual network gateways are ready. So our this infrastructure from this end and this infrastructure from this end in both in the separate region are ready. So let's head back to the Azure portal and see our resources. So I have placed them in different resource groups. So you see in the East US, I have a RGAAB where I have created a virtual network. Then I have created a virtual machine in the virtual network. Then I have created a virtual network gateway in the same subnet we created in this virtual network. Similarly, we have created the resources in the West US. Now, let's head back to the virtual machine. So, let's go to the virtual machines. Sorry. So in the virtual machines, we see we have two virtual machines. So let's go to the East US virtual machine. This virtual machine is having the IP address of 10.0.0.4 and this machine is running in East US. Similarly, let's verify the IP address of West US machine, which is 10.1.1.4 and this machine is running in West US. Let's log into our virtual machines. I have already RDP these machines on a public IP address. Let's run ipconfig. So you can see the IP address of this machine is 10.1.1.4 and similarly let's find out the IP address of this machine which is 10.0.0.4. Now we will use a simple MSTSC to test the connection. So you can see I'm trying to RDP on the private IP address of this VM in West US. So let me try to connect and let's see how it happens. And at the same time, I will try to connect MSTSC from the West US VM to the East US VM on the private IP address, not the public IP address. So let's try it. Try to connect. Aha! We are getting some error in our East US VM. We are not able to RDP our West US VM. This one. Let's see how happens here. Oh, so we are not able to access any VM either ways. So what is remaining? We have completed the setup as per our plan, but still we are not able to connect to two regions virtual machine to each other. So what is remaining? Right, guys. So we have to create a connection between these two virtual network gateways before they start communicating to different networks in the different Azure cloud regions. So let's head back to our virtual network gateways and create connections for them. Okay, so I'm minimizing these virtual machines. Then I go to our gateways. So, so I find my, let's go to the East US virtual network gateway first. Then let's go to the connections. And let's create a connection from the East US to West US. So I will give it a name as con for connection and let's name it as East US to West US. It will be a VNet to VNet connection. Our source VNet gateway is already selected. Let's select the destination VNet for the gateway. Then we use a pre-shared key. Let's give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's just anything you can give or a password type. The rest of the details I want to have default. Let us click OK. Till the time this connection is creating, let's head back to the West US gateway. So here we have our VNet gateway for West US. Let's go there. Let us go to connections. If you refresh, you will see that the connection which we created from the East US to here is already getting created. Let's create one from the West US to East US. So I will call it as con-West US to East US. Okay. And the source West US gateway is also already selected. Let's select the net VNet for East US. Give the same password here, and then you can click OK to start creating this connection. So it will not take very much time, but let's see. So if you create refresh here, you will start seeing the status of both the connections. You can see that status in the West US gateway as well, or you can go to home, and if you go to East US, you can also see the status of the connection being updated there. So they reflect in both the ends. Sometimes it's going to take very much time. So I will be pausing this video till the time these status of this connections is ready. Here I go to connections, and I see that the status is connected now. Let's go to the West US gateway and then see the connections, and it is connected here. So sometimes it actually get connected, but you still see here the status updating or unknown. You just close your portal, Azure portal, and come back again. Sometimes you click here and there, overview and configuration, so it show you and it refreshes. But most of the time, I just close my Azure portal and log in back after some time, and it shows me connected. So definitely it's going to take some time. Now let's head back to our virtual machines and see what is the status of RDP accessing from each other. So I will first try logging into from my East US VM, which is 10.0.0.4 to 10.1.1.4, which is our West US. So I hit click, and I see that I'm able to RDP. It's asking for connections, right? But I'm not actually connecting for now. Let me try on the other end as well, because while I will connect, one of the RDP is going to be disconnected, because you know the same user cannot connect to from different places two connections, right? So I'm now trying to connect from my West US to East US VM. I hit connect, and I see that I am able to connect to my East US VM as well. So let us try to put credentials so that I can access Azure user. So I am now trying to connect from my East US region data center to West US region data center VM on RDP. So how it looks like? From this VM, I am RDPing this VM because we already created a connection. So let's put the credentials here and hit OK. So I am definitely going to lose the connection of my West US VM. You will see that, okay, it is asking for certificate. I click yes. And now you see I have lost connection to my West US virtual machine. So this conclude our session, guys. We can try this in other way as well. Let me try to see if, okay, let's try to connect again to this VM of our West US, and we will try to access the West VM in the East US now. So Azure user is the name. So let's take the RDP session back on the public IP. So now you see I got the session back, and it will disconnect from there. So from here it got disconnected, and let us try to now reach our East US VM from here. So I will put the credentials, use a different account. Azure user, then let's put the password here. You know, we are trying to access 10.0.0.4 from this VM. Click OK. Okay, so it is asking for some certificate warning. Okay, I click OK, yes. And now you see we lost connection to our East-US VM. So now this conclude our session that we are able to access our VMs from here to there using our virtual network gateways and creating a connection between them. So that's all for today's lab, guys. I hope you are enjoying these videos. There are a couple of videos I have created for creating virtual networks, virtual machines. So please go and check that as well in my channel. And don't forget to subscribe my channel, like my videos, and also click the bell icon